Mount Everest continues to grow. The highest point on Earth is actively stretching taller, adding about 4 millimeters to its height every single year. This geological cross-section diagram shows exactly why. Nepal sits directly on the fault line, where the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates violently grind into one another, continuously forcing the ground upward. That constant friction dictates the reality of the entire country. Nepal is a nation literally built on and continuously shaped by immense geological pressure. When most people think of this region, they picture a frozen, desolate expanse of rock and ice, serving primarily as a backdrop for foreign mountaineers. But this 3D topographical map reveals a wildly different reality. The terrain plunges from those 8,800-meter peaks down to flat plains just 60 meters above sea level, packing in 118 distinct ecosystems, including steamy tropical jungles. Even its national flag defies convention. As the only country with a non-rectangular, double triangle flag, Nepal announces its distinct, independent identity up front. To understand how this geography works, you cannot simply scan it from east to west. You have to climb it from bottom to top. We start at the lowest elevation, the Terai region. Sitting nearly at sea level, this flat, subtropical belt acts as the nation's agricultural engine, producing massive yields of rice, wheat, and sugarcane. Moving away from the farmlands, this southern stretch is covered by dense, humid forests, like those found in Chitwan National Park. These deep jungles support highly complex food webs, providing habitat for apex predators like the Bengal tiger and immense grazing herbivores like the greater one-horned rhinoceros. Beyond its ecological wealth, the Terai serves as the historical bedrock of Eastern spirituality. In 623 BC, Siddhartha Gautama, who would become the Dhruva, was born right here in the plains of Lumbini, establishing this land as a permanent global center of peace and meditation. The base of Nepal relies on deep, fertile soil and ancient religious tradition. Moving northward, the elevation sharply rises into the middle hills and valleys, sitting between 600 and 3,000 meters. This zone operates as the cultural and political core of the nation. For centuries, this aggressively steep terrain acted as a natural, impenetrable wall, effectively sealing the valleys off from invading empires. It bred a uniquely fierce military tradition. In the 18th century, King Prithvi Narayan Shah relied on the legendary Gurkha warriors, armed with their curved kukuri knives, to unify the scattered hill states into a single kingdom. That combination of punishing geography and fierce tactics allowed Nepal to successfully repel the expanding British Empire, formalizing its independence through the 1816 Sigali Treaty, while much of South Asia fell under colonial rule. Protected by this isolation, an incredibly dense cultural heritage flourished. In the Kathmandu Valley, artisans perfected the pagoda architectural style, carving highly intricate details into the wooden tiers of towering temples. These traditions remain entirely active today. The valley is home to the Kumari, a young girl worshipped by locals as a living incarnation of the goddess Durga. Yet this deep historical continuity exists right alongside sudden political upheaval. Following a decade of insurgency and a royal massacre, mass public uprisings dismantled the centuries-old Hindu monarchy in 2008, forging a modern federal democratic republic. These steep valleys served as the absolute crucible for the nation, a fortress that protected ancient independence and absorbed the shock of modern democratic revolution. Pushing past the valleys brings us to the final extreme tier, the Himalayas. This frozen boundary holds 8 of the world's 14 tallest peaks, all towering above 8,000 meters. This deadly oxygen-starved environment is the traditional home of the Sherpa community. As indigenous inhabitants of the high Himalayas, they possess unique physiological adaptations and deep technical mastery over the ice. When the summit of Mount Everest was finally reached in 1953, it was a Sherpa climber, Tenzing Norgay, alongside Edmund Hillary, who achieved it, proving their unmatched endurance to the world. Today, Sherpa climbers completely dominate high-altitude mountaineering, with individuals like Kami Rita Sherpa holding records for summiting Everest dozens of times. These high-altitude regions operate as extreme vertical homelands, continuously navigated by the communities who evolved to survive them. All that high-altitude ice eventually melts, creating a massive gravitational battery. Billions of gallons of water rush down from the glaciers, violently cutting through deep stone gorges into the valleys below. This river system map shows how Nepal is capturing that kinetic energy. By damming these steep waterways, the country generates immense amounts of hydroelectric power, turning the aggressive rivers into a regional energy hub. This rapidly expanding export, referred to locally as white gold, combines with capital sent home by citizens working abroad to fund major infrastructure upgrades, like new cross-border railway projects. By converting gravity into power, Nepal is actively harnessing its most difficult geography to build a self-sustaining modern economy. Which brings us back to that unique double triangle flag. The symbols on it capture the exact duality of the nation. The moon on the top tier reflects the calm, spiritual synthesis of the lowlands and valleys, while the sun below projects the fierce, unyielding resolve of a people who have successfully defended their borders for centuries. According to local tradition, those symbols carry a promise. The nation of Nepal will endure as long as the sun and the moon remain in the sky. Nepal stands as an independent 8,000-meter-tall fortress built on extreme ecological diversity and a resilient human spirit.